Sergeant, I'll remind you on the roads. Thank you.
Good morning. All right, Mr. Jackson, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Sergeant.
Good morning.
I'd like to ask you, just to start off with, at some point during the course of your investigation, did you become aware that a snowplow driver had reported having seen a Ford Edge being moved into a location in front of 34 Fairview sometime in the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022?
We learned about a plow truck driver. I don't believe his recollection was as you described, though.
Do you remember him mentioning a Ford Edge?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember him saying that the Ford Edge had been moved? He had passed by, it wasn't there. At some point, he passed by again, and it was there, impeding his plow route.
Yes.
Okay. What is your best memory about when he said he believed the Ford Edge? Sorry, I guess a better way to put it is, when did he say he first saw the Ford Edge in place in front of 34 Fairview?
I don't remember exactly. I know it was during the middle of the night. My not adopting your narrative was the fact that he saw it being moved there.
Understood. I figured that. I clocked that as soon as I said it. He didn't see it moved. He saw it. He saw 34 Fairview without it there. Then about an hour later, it was there.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Would about 3:30 in the morning sound right to you in terms of what he reported, in terms of the time that he saw it there?
It sounds right, but I'm not sure of the exact time. My report would reflect the accurate time.
Fair enough. Let me see if I can grab that report real quick. Let me ask this. Well, it's a very lengthy report. Instead of making you sit there and wait, let me just ask this. Do you remember him saying that he had first plowed the area free of the Ford Edge? In other words, first passed in front of 34 Fairview around 2:30 in the morning? Does that sound right?
I believe his dispatch time for the plowing of the roads that evening was 2:30. But I would have to look at my report.
That's fine. And then it was sometime subsequent there too that he saw the Ford Edge in place, maybe an hour later.
Sounds about right. Again.
Okay. Did you take any investigative steps when you learned about this snowplow driver to determine who, if anyone, might have owned a Ford Edge associated with 34 Fairview?
I did not know.
Did your investigation ever reveal that the Albert family actually had a Ford Edge at the time?
Yes.
I want to shift gears for a second to One Meadows, if I could, and ring video evidence associated with One Meadows. You testified that on direct examination that there was no video from Ring at or around the time 12:36 a.m. When Miss Reed's SUV returned back to One Meadows. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes.
You did receive a search warrant returned from the Ring Corporation in furtherance of a search warrant executed by Trooper Proctor, correct? Former Trooper Proctor.
Evidence was returned by Ring, yes.
And in addition to the actual video recordings, there was also an activity log that was returned associated with that time and that location from the Ring Corporation, correct?
There was a key log identifying each video that was provided by the time and date when the video was recorded. It's not an activity log per se for the account. It's strictly a key describing the video, telling you what time the video was recorded.
During the entirety of your investigation, was there any evidence uncovered at all that Ms. Reed had accessed the account information associated with that Ring account?
No evidence could be provided by Ring documenting that activity.
But there is evidence that someone had accessed the account through John O'Keefe's cell phone, correct?
I am not aware of that.
Are you aware that after John O'Keefe's cell phone was recovered by Massachusetts State Police, someone at Massachusetts State Police actually opened the Ring app on his cell phone?
Yes.
Who's the
Seriously?
person who opened and accessed the Ring app on John O'Keefe's cell phone?
Somebody
I'm
sent me
not
the Underground
100%
Diddy
sure.
video.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
I might do another one, but I did a little victory lap over on Vlog Talk with Mike. It's posted in the community tab. If
Can
you
you
want to
refresh your recollection to take a look at a report, perhaps?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
If you could take a look at that 3-page report and tell me if that refreshes your recollection.
Apparently, for some reason, I've got a couple of Johnsons. Coochie. Gotcha.
I'm not so sure. I think that's a possibility. I'm not saying you're wrong, Vicky. This investigation sucks.
Sergeant, having looked at this,
You'd think the
report,
facts
does that
line up
refresh your
better.
recollection as to who may have accessed that Ring app?
Yes, that report is authored by Michael Proctor, and it says that investigators accessed the Ring application.
Thank you. I want to show you one other document, if I could.
Yeah, and things like that. I'm like, seriously, I'm not taking a position here. I don't know what the hell happened, and that's kind of why this is fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I could be convinced she's completely guilty or completely
I
innocent.
just
but
handed you what
I'm not convinced
purports
either
to
way
be
yet,
the search warrant
honestly.
return for the Ring, from the Ring company, correct?
I got to take a look through all of it.
Of course. Take your time.
that I gave Ms. Milligan, I'm assuming bacterial vaginosis.
Thank you, Sergeant. Have you had an opportunity to review that document?
I have.
Does it indicate that in addition to several other files, there is a login session report that was produced by the Ring Corporation as well? It's highlighted on that page.
Number 4 is highlighted with one Excel file containing login session information.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. And again, just to make sure I'm very clear about this, nothing from the Ring Corporation suggested or intimated that Ms. Reed actually accessed any of that Ring account information, correct?
The information provided did not indicate that, no.
Thank you. I want to ask you a couple of questions about your testimony on direct examination related to your trip to the hospital and your observation specific to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm. You indicated that you saw bruising on his right arm in addition to the abrasions, the parallel abrasions that you described, correct?
I believe bruising is very similar to abrasion.
Okay, that's my question. Can we, Your Honor, with the court's permission, can we show Exhibit 1? It's already been introduced. Is this a fair and accurate depiction of what you saw in terms of the condition of Mr. O'Keefe's arm while at the hospital, if not exactly like this?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What did you mean when you said you saw bruising on his arm? What were you talking about?
I actually indicated bruising on his right hand, the back of his right hand.
Okay, that fair enough. From his wrist, when I say arm, can we agree, at least for this purpose for the purposes of this discussion, that I mean from the wrist up to the shoulder?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see any bruising from the wrist to his shoulder?
I saw exactly what's depicted there with the abrasions and lacerations.
Okay. You know what lividity is, correct?
I do.
Okay. Describe for the jurors what lividity is.
Lividity is the pooling of blood inside the body as a deceased individual falls or is positioned naturally with gravity. Blood begins to settle in the lowest portions of the body. If you're laying face down, it'd be your face. It also contours to the imprint or the force that's exerted on the body from below. If someone's deceased on TV remote control, you can see the remote control, the buttons underneath from the pressure.
So it's a bluish, purplish discoloration of the skin, not from an impact, but from the pooling of blood after the heart stops, correct?
That's correct.
Do you see an area at the upper arm that the skin looks discolored in addition to the abrasions that we see?
I'm sorry, I was looking at that one.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. Yes. Right up toward the upper biceps, triceps area.
I see that area, yes.
Okay. Is that consistent with lividity rather than bruising?
I would not agree with that, no.
You believe that that's a bruise?
I believe that that's a laceration.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about the discoloration of the skin, the reddish purplish hue of the skin, separate and apart from the abrasion, from the abrasions or lacerations to the skin. The discoloration. Do you see that discoloration or no?
I do not know.
You do not?
I do not know.
Okay, we can take that down. As you sit here today, you're not suggesting that you saw bruising from the wrist to the shoulder on John O'Keefe's arm?
Nothing that stood out to me.
Okay.
I observed lacerations and abrasions.
All right, thank you. I want to shift gears one more time and ask you about your trip to Dighton and the seizure of the SUV. You testified that you seized the SUV somewhere, I think your testimony on direct examination was somewhere around 4:15, 4:17, something like that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Does 4:12 sound like it could be a reasonable time that that SUV was actually seized in Massachusetts State Police custody?
It could be reasonable. I'd have to refer to the video evidence that, and then also the exact time that we advised the defendant that we are going to be seizing it. I guess it could be argued that that's when it was seized. Even we had the intent to seize it right there.
Right. Took the key fob, went outside, had a, had a tow truck driver actually put it onto the back of a flatbed. Ultimately, it was transported, correct?
Correct.
And you became aware at some point that there was video evidence. You just referenced it. Video evidence of that, I'm going to call it seizure process. Is that right?
Yes.
And that video evidence had a timestamp on it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You're also aware, as the supervisor of Michael Proctor, that he swore under oath in multiple affidavits in support of search warrants that the SUV was seized at 5:30 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And you knew at the time, because you were actually there, and you knew when the vehicle was seized, that stating under oath in an affidavit that it was 5:30 p.m. and not 4:12 p.m., that was a false statement, correct?
There's a discrepancy in time there, yes.
Did you take any action, you yourself as a supervisor, did you take any action to correct that false or misleading state? Let me ask it a different way. Did you take any action to correct that time to the accurate time of 4:12 in any of the affidavits that you became aware of?
No, the actual time of the seizure through the video, we learned much later. So the approximate time, 5:30, although inaccurate, I did not take any action to correct it, no.
And you received that video as a production from the defense. You did not have access to that video, correct?
Yes.
And so at the time that Michael Proctor actually wrote and drafted these affidavits and swore to them under oath, he did not know that a video existed, correct?
Objection. Sustained, you have to word it differently.
Sure. At the time that let me ask it a different way. At the time that you reviewed his declarations under oath, you did not know that a video existed.
No, we did not know.
If I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
I want to ask you about something that was brought up on direct examination. Sustained findings as it pertains to you. You've already talked about the fact that, Sergeant, you're a supervisor and we're a supervisor back in January of 2022 moving forward over Trooper Proctor, correct?
Yes.
Generally speaking, as a supervisor, your job is to properly and professionally supervise, show some authority over those in your charge. Is that right?
Yes.
Michael Proctor was, in fact, a trooper in your charge.
Yes.
And you would agree that your supervision has a direct impact on the character and quality of the subordinate investigators that you supervise.
Yes.
The whole point of having supervision and a chain of command is to establish a certain amount of, for lack of a better phrase, quality control of the subordinates.
Yes.
That would also include quality control over the subordinates' investigations.
Yes.
On August 17th, 2022, you were in a group text with the following individuals: Michael Proctor, Trooper Kukowski, a lieutenant named Fanning, and a trooper named DiCicco, D-I-C-I-C-C-O, correct?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm handing you a document. Can you tell me if you recognize that document?
Meaning she was bleeding out of her hoo-ha.
I recognize parts of it.
You saw that document on direct examination. I think you were shown the same document, correct?
It was different parts of it, but same. It's inclusive of within this document.
Okay. Let's start with this. You indicated that you did not see Michael Proctor's name on that
That is a
document,
good idea.
correct?
That's fascinating to me where the pulse is currently. It really is. I'll do that right now.
Correct. His name is not on here.
But you do recognize that as being reflective, accurately reflective of the text chain that you were on August 17th, 2022, that group chat.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to do this a little bit backward, but bear with me. You do see the name Kokowski, correct?
I do.
You do see the name Fanning, correct?
I do.
You do see the name DiCicco, correct?
I do.
And you do see the name Buchanan, correct?
No, it's misspelled, but I know it's probably referencing me.
Okay. The only other text or person texting on that chain is a code, a lengthy, almost like a URL code with no name, correct?
Yes, you're right.
And
Yes.
the only person that I didn't name, whose name I did not read off, it's obvious on that document, is Michael Proctor, correct?
Correct.
So deductive reasoning tells you that that is the code is Michael Proctor. Is that right?
I would agree with you, yes.
Okay. In that text chain, it starts with Trooper DiCicco sending a photograph, correct?
No.
May I approach?
Yes.
You can turn to page 2683, please. Do you see a photograph there?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Fair enough. There were some texts between and among the group that preceded this photograph, correct?
Yes.
I want to start on this date, August 17, 2022, with this photograph. This photograph was sent by Trooper DiCicco to the group, correct?
It possibly appears that way. I really can't I mean,
Your Honor, with the
Yes.
court's permission, I'm not sure this document has been marked. I'd like to have this marked and
Sure,
admitted.
we'll mark it for ID.
I'd actually like to have it marked and admitted. There's certain things I'd like to show.
What's the Commonwealth's position on that?
I have no objection to admission, but not in this form. It needs to be redacted.
Can you do it?
What I intend to do, I can do with one photograph. If I may have a moment with counsel.
Okay.
May I just a second?
Right, thank you.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like to publish just one page of what's been marked for identification. I'm sorry, I would ask that it be marked, the entire document be marked for identification.
Yes.
you're gonna need this.
It's exhibit FF for ID.
Thank you.
And with the court's permission, I would ask to display or to publish page 2683 of that document.
So are you admitting into evidence, page 263?
I would.
Do you
just-
have a separate one rather than tearing it out of what's been marked for
I can-
identification?
I can take it out of this copy.
And can you redact it before it's admitted, please?
It's been redacted.
Okay.
Exhibit 116.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Just so we're talking about the same thing, Sergeant, I've just handed you a page that's been marked Exhibit 116. Do you recognize that as being a copy of one of the multiple pages in the document that you're holding that's been marked for identification as FF?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we could publish that single page, please.
Okay.
Is that a photograph that was sent by Trooper DeChico to the group?
According to this document, yes.
Who is depicted in that photograph?
The big story, Mr. David Yannetti, criminal defense attorney.
Do you see that person in court?
Yes, I do.
Where is he seated and what is he wearing?
He's seated right there wearing a blue tie and a dark suit, white shirt.
Thank you. We could bring the lights up, Your Honor.
Okay.
In response to, and going back to the multi-page document FF, in response to Trooper DeChico's photograph that he sent to the group, you responded to that photograph, did you not?
Yes, this document indicates so, yes.
And you responded by laughing at it, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Well, that's what it says, or that's what you did?
I don't remember.
Trooper Proctor then, former Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, then responded, correct?
That's what it says here, yes.
And he responded to the group, funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Michael Proctor then responded again. Is that right?
Yes.
He wrote, no nudes so far, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Michael Proctor responded yet again. Is that right?
That's correct.
And in reference to Mr. Yannetti's photograph, he wrote, I hate that man. I truly hate him. Correct?
That's what it says.
There's a trooper by the name of Moore, M-O-O-R-E, correct?
There is.
And he disliked Trooper Proctor's phrase, the statement, "No nudes so far," correct?
That's what it says.
Did that indicate to you that Moore was disappointed that Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, had not found naked pictures of Miss Reed as yet?
I don't know what that indicated for Mr. Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
Hard to
responded
tell.
to the phrase, "Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone," correct?
I acknowledge
dramatic reading of it.
that text message being sent.
You acknowledged it by liking it, correct? With a thumbs up.
I acknowledged it by responding with a thumbs up emoji.
The fact is, Trooper Proctor told you, his supervisor, in this series of text messages that he was going through Miss Reed's phone. Is that right?
Correct.
And he also informed you, his supervisor, that he was going through her phone looking for nudes or naked pictures of her on her phone, correct?
He did not tell me that he was going through naked pictures, for naked pictures through the phone.
He wrote, "No nudes so far," right?
That is what is written, yes.
What did you think he was looking for when he wrote that phrase?
I don't know what he was looking for.
What would be a reasonable interpretation of what Michael Proctor was looking for when he wrote, "No nudes so far"?
I don't know.
Motorcycles, handbags, pair of shoes, or naked pictures of Miss Karen Reed?
His mission was to go through the phone to look for digital evidence that's related to the crime. The fact that he wrote "no nude so far," I cannot comment on.
You cannot comment on, or you don't want to comment on.
You can.
I don't know what he was looking for in that specific time.
You certainly did nothing. You took no action to stop him from potentially looking for naked pictures of my client, correct?
That's correct.
In fact, last week you testified that in your view, Michael Proctor handled himself in this investigation with integrity. That's what you said, correct?
That's correct.
Well, he didn't
Do you
find
stand
the
by that
notes.
testimony?
The investigation was handled with
You
integrity
are.
and honor.
Do you stand by your testimony that Michael Proctor conducted himself during the course of this investigation with integrity?
Yes, I do.
He also called her retarded, correct?
That is what's written.
That's what's written? That's a very passive way of saying it, Sergeant. That's what's written, or that's what he wrote?
That's what he wrote.
And that's what you read.
I have no memory of reading that. I acknowledged him going through the phone on my Apple Watch. I have no memory of him writing retarded on a text message.
And you'll agree that that is one of the most vile and insensitive and incendiary terms one could use in modern society. Retarded, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I don't blame the attorney for making hay out of this. However, does this shock anybody on the planet at all? And does it further us? Does it get us closer to an element of the offense being true or not true? I mean, it really doesn't. It's a lot of fun for me. It's good for my stream, but in the context of the case, meh.
And in fact, through your response to that vile phrase, you encouraged it because you liked it with a thumbs up, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you encourage that statement by Michael Proctor by liking it with a thumbs up?
I don't know if it encouraged him, but so I cannot speak to
But
that.
that's what you did.
I acknowledged the text message being sent.
I I want to be clear. These text
That's
messages
actually
were
a fair
sent to
response.
you by your direct report, by your direct subordinate, correct?
That's correct.
And there was even someone on that text chain who was more senior than you, Lieutenant Fanning, right?
That's correct.
Michael Proctor was both your partner and the lead investigator on this case when he wrote that, correct?
He's a subordinate, and he was the case officer.
So cops aren't
This
woke when they
thread-
think no one's looking.
Text thread contains
I'm shocked.
communications between a subordinate, the person you call the case up. By the way, let me ask you another question. Did you ever, during the course of the investigation in which you were a part, the sustained findings, the internal affairs investigation, did you ever review Colonel Noble's determinations about your subordinate, Michael Proctor?
Objection.
Did you review them?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
What would Colonel Noble call Michael Proctor's title in this case? You think he'd call him the case officer or the lead investigator? What is your experience with Massachusetts State Police in that regard?
Objection.
Sustained.
Notwithstanding the fact that a subordinate was on this text chain and a supervisor to you, was Lieutenant Fanning one of your supervisors?
Yes.
Notwithstanding the fact that a subordinate was on this text chain and one of your supervisors was on this text chain, you felt comfortable enough within this group of law enforcement to actually like when the subordinate refers to a suspect as retarded, correct?
I acknowledge the text message with a thumbs up emoji.
Do you believe that? Well, let me ask it another question, a predicate question. You were also comfortable enough with that text chain to receive information that your subordinate was looking for naked pictures on a suspect's phone, a woman, no less. Correct? You took no remedial action against Trooper Proctor for that, correct?
No, I did not. No.
Do you believe, as you sit here, that that was a misuse of power and authority by a Massachusetts State Police officer?
By myself or
No,
somebody else?
by Michael Proctor.
Misuse of what?
Misuse of authority and power to go through a suspect's phone, to get her phone using the authority and the power vested in that officer by the community members. That's the power that you derive, correct? You work for the public. Would you agree?
Sustained.
Do you believe it was a misuse of his authority and power to use Massachusetts State Police authority to go through her phone and look for naked pictures of her?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you believe it was a misuse of authority or power to go through her phone and potentially look for nudes?
Objection.
Sustained.
Let me ask it differently. Did you think his text was appropriate?
I don't remember reading that text.
As you
So
sit here now, do you think that text is appropriate?
no, it is not.
Do you think it's professional?
No, it is not.
Do you think it shows integrity?
That text message does not show integrity.
Do you think it shows honor? A word I expect you hold dear.
That text message does not show honor.
On October 15th, 2022, you completed a performance review of Michael Proctor, correct?
That's correct.
Specifically, you were asked to rank his, quote, oral and written communication skills, end quote, correct?
Correct.
That's part of an overall evaluation and performance review. Is that right?
Yes, overall 90-day, quarterly, annual review.
Okay, I'm furiously deleting all my texts to Yesenia for the past 10 years.
You were specifically asked to rank whether he effectively would whether members, your subordinates, would effectively communicate with others, both within and outside the department, in oral and written form, correct?
That's correct.
And you rated him as exceptional, a number 4 rating out of 5, correct?
That's correct.
You actually went on to write and comment on Michael Proctor, and you wrote, quote, Trooper Michael Proctor displays professional demeanor, composure, dignity, and respect during the performance of his duties, and especially during his interactions with the public. This is seen during interviews with witnesses, suspects, as well as victims and their families, end quote. That was a statement you wrote about Michael Proctor, correct?
That is correct.
And this is
I got a lot of
after
that too, Stu.
the text chain that we've just been talking about, where he calls Miss Reed retarded and references looking for nude photographs of her, correct?
That is correct.
Was your statement in that evaluation true or false?
It was true.
You knew Michael Proctor's proclivities, obviously. He told them to you, correct?
The term proclivities,
You
what does that mean?
knew what he tended to do, what he wanted to do through his own comments, to look for nudes on a woman's phone, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You were aware, sir, that he had received evidence in a case. Evidence that
Coochie.
doesn't belong to him,
Gotcha.
belongs to the Massachusetts State Police, at least at that point, correct? The cell phone.
I was aware that he received a cell phone, yes.
And he used that power and the authority to go through that cell phone and look for nudes of my client, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
During the same course of your evaluation, you were also asked to evaluate his investigative ability, correct?
That's correct.
You rated him the highest standard in the Massachusetts State Police, outstanding, a 5, correct?
That's correct.
And you went on to write about Michael Proctor in the commentary below that rating to justify it. Is that right?
That is accurate, yes.
You wrote, quote, Trooper Proctor has had a high-profile caseload with a lot of eye and pressure from external sources during the first day of the investigation. He handled himself and all the case with utmost professionalism and competence. He is able to investigate his case thoroughly and with strict integrity, end quote. Correct?
Which quarterly review was this?
This is the same one, October 2022. Is that right? Those are your comments.
That sounds very accurate. I just was not sure which quarterly review that was for.
Professionalism.
Yes,
You believe that he acted in accordance with the highest standards of professionalism?
during his 90-day performance, yes.
And you didn't just say he displayed professionalism, you said utmost professionalism, correct?
Yes,
Competence? Do you
Yeah.
believe he displayed competence?
yes,
And not just in integrity,
Defense attorney needs to
but
move
he
along.
conducted himself, as you put it, with strict integrity.
He's generally
right?
That
he's
is
generally
correct.
good, but he's making a mistake here.
Did it show integrity
first
in your
error.
view when your subordinate Michael Proctor called Miss Reed retarded?
Objection.
I'll allow that one.
I believe that as a U.S. citizen, he has the right to comment. That's his First Amendment right. We uphold the Constitution, and it's unfortunate, unprofessional what he said in the private text message communication. He might have been voicing his frustrations. I cannot speak for Michael Proctor. It is unprofessional and unfortunate that he said that.
This was not, Sergeant Buchanan, a private text message conversation. This was with his boss and 4 or 5 other individuals, one of whom was your boss, correct?
Correct.
This was a communication intended for and received by members of his unit in furtherance of his investigative authority, correct?
It was amongst members of the unit.
He was updating his boss about what he was doing in furtherance of the investigation, going through her phone, correct?
No, I would disagree with you on that. This was a group chain, text message chain that we were discussing private matters in our personal lives.
Private matters, including going through Miss Reed's phone?
That is unfortunately shared on that group text.
So in other words, to the public, he holds one face in private conversations with you and your colleagues within the unit. He shows a completely different face, private face, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You said that you believe that he has a constitutional right, a First Amendment right, to call Miss Reed a suspect in his official investigation, in his official capacity as a Massachusetts state trooper.
This isn't the end of the world, but right now there is not a person on the planet that is surprised that police officers in the middle of a serious investigation do not act like gender studies professors when they talk to each other. That shocks absolutely nobody. And it's okay it's okay for a quick hit, just kind of embarrass them a little bit, but to pound on it like this, you start losing your credibility. It makes you look like you don't have better stuff to go after.
To call her retarded? That's your justification?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you justify his statement, that vile statement?
I do not know.
Do you think it's appropriate, given the fact that he has a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants?
No, I do not.
Do you think there actually might be members of the community, parents, siblings,
Objection.
children?
Mr. Jackson, I'm going to exclude that question as argumentative. Move on.
You wrote in your report, if I may have a moment, Your Honor, you wrote in your report about his conduct. He shows composure, dignity, and respect during the performance of his duties, and especially during his interactions with the public. He has a duty to the public, to the community that he serves, correct?
Yes, he does.
Just like you have a duty to the public and the community that you serve. Is that right?
That is correct.
Do you think community members might take offense to the use of the
Objection.
word retarded?
Sustained. It's argumentative again, Mr. Jackson. Please don't do that.
He didn't just put it, that derogatory comment. He didn't just put it, or he didn't just say it, correct? You talked about the First Amendment.
Objection.
Sustained.
I'm not finished with my question, if I could.
All right, so just ask the question.
Sure.
No comments first, okay?
My question is, did he just say the word? Or did he go further than just saying it?
Objection.
Okay, we've gone through this. Move on, please.
The fact is, Sergeant, you put it in writing and you liked it, correct?
I acknowledge the text message. I never saw the vile term.
We're not believing that either. Now we're just having a slappy fight over
Gentlemen,
irrelevant
we,
crap.
approach it just very briefly for a scheduling issue.
Okay?
Everyone's
Jurors,
full,
feel free to
everyone's full of
stand up
crap
and-
now. Oh, good Lord. Oh, we're not live. This is all good. We don't have to do Mike's Only fan page. You guys don't have to hear an interlude.
Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, I'd like to move to a different area. At some
Please
point
do.
during the course of your investigation, you and Michael Proctor interviewed Chris and Julie Albert, correct?
That's correct.
That was at the Albert residence, the Chris and Julie Albert residence, is that right?
Yes.
On or about February 10th, 2022?
Yes,
Does that sound right?
it does.
Okay. At any point before or during that interview, did Michael Proctor discuss with you a previous relationship that he and or his family had with Chris and Julie Albert or their family?
Yes, as we were walking up to the door, he stated that he knows them from he knows of them from around town and through friendship.
Did that cause you any concern that the case officer that had been assigned to the case, dealing with, obviously involving the Albert family, had a pre-existing familiarity or relationship with any members of the Albert family?
Yes, I followed up asking him if he hangs out with these people, how well he knows them. And he stated that he does not hang out with them. They're not his friends. He just happens to know them through people in town.
Did he tell you any specifics about communications he had related to Chris and Julie Albert?
No, he did not.
Did he tell you any specifics about communications Michael Proctor had with his sister as it pertained to Chris and Julie Albert?
No.
Did he volunteer any information about the relationship that he might have or his family might have, including his wife, with Chris and or Julie Albert?
That information not come up.
Did you ever later learn, now I'm taking it outside of your conversation with Michael Proctor, did you ever later learn about friendship or connection that he and his family, Michael Proctor's family, had with Chris and Julie Albert or the Albert family?
I've learned of accusations. I don't know the extent of how familiar they are.
What accusations have you learned?
Through trial or through court proceedings.
Right, what are they? Would give me the nature of what you've learned.
Objection.
Sustained. We need a time frame.
Sure. When did you learn of these, of this information?
That was July of 2023, I believe.
And what were the circumstances in which you gained this knowledge? What did you learn about it?
There were accusations that Michael Proctor had familial friendship with these individuals, but the accusations were not factual.
Did you learn any specifics
Of
of the allegations? Did you use the word allegations? Or I think you used the word accusations.
yes,
Were there any specifics?
there were.
You just said that what were some of the specifics?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, by the way, did you say that you learned of these accusations during the last proceeding in this case?
Not the last proceeding. I
Or a
said
prior proceeding in this case?
it was through court proceedings.
Okay, how did you learn that specifically, Sergeant? Did you watch some of the proceedings? Were they televised? Did someone report it to you? What were the circumstances?
I was present in court.
This was what year? 2023.
3. Yes.
And did you take any action to investigate further the accusations that you said came up in 2023?
No. Well, yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, what did you do in that regard? What were the accusations and what did you do to investigate?
The information had been learned and that it was not factual. So
Okay, you're using the word information. Help me out. Details. What'd you learn?
there was claims that
I object.
Sustained.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Final question, Sergeant. I think I asked this, but let me make sure I'm clear. Your interview along with Michael Proctor with Chris and Julie Albert was February 10th, 2022, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not certain on that, but I believe it was.
Okay. Well, let me just clear that up real quick. Would it refresh your recollection to look at your report?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Does that refresh your recollection, Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
What was the date?
February 10th.
Thank you. Okay, I want to move to back to Canton PD. Did you at some point recover some videos or a series of electronic data that purported to be videos from Canton PD in furtherance of your investigation?
Yes.
And to whom did you deliver these videos, and whom were they requested by?
The initial request was by Michael Proctor. I delivered them to him.
Okay. Since that delivery, have you seen these videos?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I'm holding a flash drive that I'd like to have, with the court's permission, I'd like to have marked as next in order for introduction, but I'll play the first couple of seconds of it and just establish the foundation first with the court's permission.
Have you shown it or discussed this with Mr.
I
Brennan?
just discussed it with Mr. Brennan at the break.
What's the Commonwealth's position? I have no idea what it is.
Sure, we can mark, yes. Mr. Brennan said he'd like to review them before they get entered into evidence. We can mark it for ID for purposes of this examination.
I don't expect I'll object. I just want to review.
Okay, so we'll mark it for identification, please, Madam Court Reporter.
Mark it.
Exhibit GG for identification.
Just to establish the foundation so we know what we're talking about, did you see on some of the electronic devices that you picked up in furtherance of this investigation video of somebody outside? Now we're the outside cameras or outside camera view at Canton PD at about 1:30 in the morning on January 29th, 2022.
The digital video, one of the collection items. It wasn't a device. It was, well, I guess it is a device, but the digital storage that was collected had video from external view of the PD. I do not remember specifically seeing an individual, but
Okay.
I did
Do you
review
remember
it.
being of the parking lot area, at least one of them, one of the clips being of the parking lot area outside Canton PD?
I don't remember seeing outside parking lot. I'd have to see it.
I understand. Do you remember another clip being of the outside Sallyport, there's a pedestrian door, not the big roll-up door, but a pedestrian door, someone going in and out of the pedestrian door?
I know the view you're talking about, but specifically what you're stating, I'd have to see the video, tell you if I saw it or not.
And I'm asking a couple of these other questions. I think I may know what the answer is. There's another, do you remember another video being an internal corridor, looking down a hallway, seeing someone walk up or back?
Yes,
Do you
yes,
remember that one?
I do.
Okay, and then one on the outside, again, sort of passing from right to left, may not be intended to a parking lot, but at least an outdoor view of someone moving from frame right to frame left across the camera angle.
I don't remember that.
You do remember that all these videos, I just mentioned 4, we've talked about 4, these videos were from January 29th, 2022, around generally 1:30, 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning?
I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact time and date. I just remember seeing the file and reviewing it.
Do you remember Mr. Proctor asking for video attendant to January 29th? At least can we narrow it to that date?
From Canton PD?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So these are all from January 29th, 2022. You just don't remember the specifics of them. It's been too long since you've seen them.
I don't know when each video was collected and then reviewed.
Okay.
Exactly.
With the court's permission, well, may I have just a moment to confer with counsel?
Okay.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd ask that what's been marked as GG, at least the first video, be published for the jurors.
All right, so there are 4 videos on this flash drive?
One video, 4 different camera angles as it's set from the one video.
Are you ready to see this now? I thought you wanted to review it.
I'll agree, and if I have a problem, I'll let the court know. No problem.
All right, so for the first one, the first camera angle?
Correct.
Okay,
It's one video, but 4 different angles.
all right. We just have to keep a record. That's why I'm
Understood.
asking all these
It's a
questions.
little complicated. I get it.
All right, we can do that.
Thank you. And this is, Your Honor, just for the record, actually, let me do it this way. Sergeant, would you agree that we can call this the rear lot main side at Canton PD, just for identification purposes?
Sure, if you'd like. I don't know which side this is, so I can't argue with you about the location. So
Okay.
I'll agree with you that we can call it that.
Great. It looks like a parking lot. There's cars.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, just for purposes of, so it doesn't get complicated, we'll call this rear lot main side. That doesn't mean anything unless you adopt it. So just for identification purposes.
Thank you.
If we could move to runtime 1:26:32. Okay, with the court's permission, may I play it at this point?
Okay.
Thank you. Stop. Did you see a car pass in front?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of car did that look like to you?
It looked like a 2-door Jeep Wrangler with a plow on it.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it. Okay, stop. Sergeant, did you, during the course of your investigation, learn whether or not anybody associated with your investigation had a 2-door Jeep Wrangler with a plow on it?
Yes,
Who is that?
Mr. Brian Higgins.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and play this. Okay, stop. Sir, do you see a person who appears to have alighted from the car,
Yes.
from the Jeep? Sergeant, if you could turn your attention to the screen on the right. Does that appear to be the location of the person that you're describing?
That's the individual that came out of the vehicle, yes.
Okay. I know it's super blurry. You may not be able to at this point. Do you know who that is?
I do not know.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play it. Okay, stop. All right, did you see the person walk off the screen?
Yes,
Did it appear that that person had something in his or her hands?
possibly, yes.
Okay. May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. If we could play the second clip on this same GG. Before this is played, Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted in this photograph?
I do not know.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play this. Stop. What do you see on the video at this point?
An individual crossing the frame with a couple of cars parked, one of which has a plow on it.
Does it look like an exterior video?
Yes.
Does that appear to be an exterior video if you don't know exactly where, an exterior video of Canton PD?
From the facilities, yes.
Okay. And describe the person that you see in the foreground at the bottom of the screen.
Appears to be wearing a black sweatshirt, a hooded sweatshirt.
Larger in stature, smaller in stature, can you tell?
I'd be speculating because there's no comparison, but possibly larger. I don't know.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it. And that's it for that. Your Honor, if we could play the next video. By the way, can we agree before we move off of this, just for identification purposes, can we agree to call this rear lot cruiser side as opposed to rear lot main side, just to keep them separate?
Same as last time. I'm not familiar where that camera is, so I cannot argue with you nor adopt. But if for identification purposes only, we can agree on that.
Can you see from where you are, and I know the answer to this, can you see from where you are the timestamp on the bottom of this?
No.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, it's very, very small. Is it possible to ask the witness to adjourn from the witness stand just to get close enough to see if you can read the...
You can't increase the size of it?
Maybe we can. I'm not the tech guy. Mr. Wolk? Magic. Wow. I didn't even know he could do that. Okay. Can you read that?
Yes, it says rear lot cruiser side.
Okay. What about the time?
The timestamp reads 1:27:41.
Do you see a date?
Yes.
What is that date?
1/29/2022.
Thank you. This was my fault. Your Honor, if we could move back to rear lot main side, I'd like to do the same thing. I failed to ask for the time and date on that one. Mr. Wolk, if you could, please. Is it possible to see from there the time and date?
Yes, the time is 1:27:32 a.m. and the date is 1/29/2022.
Thank you. Okay, if we can move to the third clip. If we could start, Mr. Wolk, by enhancing with the court's permission the time and date, let's just start with that.
Okay.
Do you see what the timestamp designates this camera angle to be?
It appears to be church side. And I can't read the third word there.
Exterior?
Oh, yes, exterior. Sallyport.
Okay, and if you could tell the jurors what you see in terms of the time and date.
The time is 1:27:43 a.m. and the date is 1/29/2022.
Thank you. Mr. Wolk, if you could play that with the court's permission.
Okay.
Stop. Do you see a person in that video?
I do.
Although it's somewhat blurry, can you describe that individual for us, please?
Individual wearing dark clothing, possibly. That's the best I could do, really.
Okay. Does it appear, given what you've seen in terms of the time of the main side, cruiser side, and now this exterior church side, does that appear to be the same person moving through on the outside of Canton PD?
It does, yes.
Okay. And what are we looking at here, by the way? What is this door he's about to walk into?
I'd be guessing. I was never present on that side of the Sallyport.
Understood.
I don't know.
Let's go ahead and play this. Okay, and for the final clip. If we could go down to the timestamp and date. A little bigger, Mr. Walk, if you could. Can you see what that is designated as that camera angle?
Yes, it says first floor corridor, and the time is 1:28:03 a.m. on the 29th of January, 2022.
Okay. Is this the corridor version or video that you did have some recollection of?
Yes, this is, yes.
Okay, if we can go ahead and play this. Stop. Do you recognize the person in this video?
It appears to be Mr. Brian Higgins.
Okay, and what is he wearing? Describe it for the jurors.
Black sweatshirt with some sort of logo on the front. It appears to be blue jeans and shoes with a white trim.
And is the hood up or down on the sweatshirt?
It's up.
Okay, let's go ahead and play this. May I have just a moment? Could you pause this, Mr. Wolf? Can you make note of the time as it's paused right here?
Do you want me to say it again or
Yes,
write
sir.
it down?
Yes, sir.
The time is 1:28:16 a.m.
Okay, and if we could just continue playing this video. It is playing. Stop. Now, if you could take a look at the time now. Okay, what's that time?
1:29:42
Okay.
a.m.
And if we could go ahead and go forward. Is it still playing, Mr. Wolk? Okay. If we could take a look at the time one more time.
Now it's, you want me to say it?
Yes, sir.
1:34:12 a.m.
And in the time, just so the record's clear, in the time between you saying 1:28:16 to 1:34:12, 6 minutes has not gone by, correct?
Just under 6, I believe, yeah.
Well, 6 minutes for us in real time.
Oh, in real time, yeah, no.
It is not. So it
Sorry.
appears that the camera jumped, or the time jumped.
The time difference on what was displayed is approximately 6 minutes, yes.
Okay, which is much longer than the time we've actually been looking at the video, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so it appears that it may be motion activated and it just jumped.
That's a possibility, yes.
Okay,
yes.
let's go ahead and continue playing this. And stop. Do you see someone in the screen now?
Yes.
And one more time, I know this is laborious, one more time if we could clock the time. Can you see that?
No, it's really blurry for me.
There we go.
Yes. Now I can see it 1:34:15, if I'm not mistaken, a.m.
Okay, fair enough. And let's go ahead and play this all the way through. Who did that appear to be walking away from the camera in this shot?
I'm not certain. I would be suspecting or guessing if I gave you an answer, but I'm not certain who that is.
As best you can determine, does he have the same stature? I know you can't see his face. Same stature, same clothing, jeans, shoes with white stripe around it, dark hooded sweatshirt. Does he appear to be the same person as Brian Higgins?
It does appear that way, yes.
Okay. Is that it? Okay. There's one more clip that I'd ask you to look at on this same GG device. Okay. What do you see in this
That's my question.
video?
Appears to be the church side Sallyport, and an individual came out of the door.
Okay. And can we highlight the time, please, or increase the size? What time do you see there?
1:34:40 a.m.
Okay. If we go ahead and play this through. Pause. Does it appear from this video that the person has anything in his hand?
I'm sorry, can you play that again? I wasn't looking at the hand, but
Sure.
I really can't tell.
Okay. There should be another video of the rear lock cruiser side. Let's take a look at that. Pause. What do you see in that video?
It appears to be an individual wearing a black beanie hat, black dark colored sweatshirt with some design on it, and something illuminating by his face.
Can we enhance the time, please? What time is that?
It says 1:34 and 53 seconds in the morning, a.m.
And if you could move the screen over to the individual. Mr. Wool. Does that appear to be the same person?
It could possibly be, yeah.
And does it appear as something in his hand up to his face, the right side of his face or ear?
Yes.
What do you think that is?
It's consistent with a cellular device, possibly a phone or a tablet.
Okay. If we could move on, please. Play that through. And I believe there's one more video. And Your Honor, this one is a little longer. This is about 10 minutes.
Okay.
With the court's permission, I'd like to play this through. Okay, stop. Do you see a person in the video walking from screen right to screen left?
Yes.
Did that person appear to have something in his right hand?
I can't tell. I can't see his right hand.
Okay. When he first walked into the screen, could you tell?
I couldn't. No, I'm sorry.
Mr. Wolt, could we back that up with the court's permission about 2 seconds? Stop. Did it appear to have something in his hand?
It's a possibility, yes.
Okay. And just for, I'm going to ask you for 2 times when we start and when we stop. What's the time on this video at this point when he walks into frame?
1:35 and 8 seconds in the morning, a.m.
Okay. And let's go ahead and play this through.
All right. Should I fast forward here? I don't know what I haven't seen this, so I don't know if I'm skipping past something.
Pause it, please. Sergeant, at this point, do you see a person walking into the frame into the video from frame left to frame right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Can you pause it? Did you see something happen with the vehicle next to the Jeep in the last few seconds?
Yes.
What was that?
It appears as though the headlights are activated.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it. Okay, pause it. You see a person that is walking from screen right to screen left in the middle of the screen?
Yes, he just or she just appears to have closed the door on that vehicle next to the plow.
Okay. And walking toward which vehicle?
The one on the furthest on the left.
Okay. From what you've seen, Sergeant, that you said he or she, does that person appear to be consistent with the video that we've seen in other particulars of Brian Higgins?
As far as I could tell from here, the individual accessed Brian Higgins' vehicle, so
Right.
I'd be speculating with the whiteout conditions or near whiteout conditions. It's tough to tell.
But no reason to believe that's anybody other than Brian Higgins accessing Brian Higgins' vehicle.
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's go ahead and play it. And what do you see Brian Higgins or that person doing now?
They accessed the vehicle on the far left.
Okay. And where's that person going?
Now they're accessing the Jeep Wrangler.
Can you pause it? Where does that individual appear to be now in the video?
Last I could tell, they might be by the Jeep Wrangler.
Before that person got to the Jeep Wrangler, was he standing by the vehicle on the far left? SUV or truck?
It appeared that way, but with the heavy whiteout snow that night, I can't tell exactly what they were doing.
Did you see anything in his hand, like a bag or a satchel or a duffel bag or something when that person walked from this vehicle over to the Jeep?
I did not notice, no.
Go ahead. Now, has that person walked off screen to the left?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you see that person entering screen from screen left?
Yes.
Good Lord.
What did you just see the person do?
They were carrying possibly like a snow broom, walking from left to right.
And what do you see happening now?
The Jeep Wrangler's leaving the spot it was parked in.
Okay. Okay, we can take that down. Oh, I'm sorry. I failed to ask you the time. I promised I would do it, and I forgot again. Can we look at the time real quick?
Yes, the time for the rear lot main side is 1:45:52.
And it appears that's the approximate time that the Jeep Wrangler drove off.
Approximately, yes.
Okay. Thank you. In 20, well, are you friends with Brian Higgins?
I am not.
Do you know Brian Higgins?
I know who he is, yes.
Have you ever socialized with Brian Higgins?
Like out on private time?
Go out, have a beer,
No.
see him at a bar. Hey, Brian, let's grab a beer. Nothing like that?
No.
How long have you known Mr. Higgins?
I'd be speculating. It's before this case. He was a law enforcement individual that worked in the area. So I've had cases where he assisted on and that I've assisted on.
Would you consider yourself to have a professional relationship with him?
I knew who he was, so yes, I would consider it a professional relationship.
But you would not consider your relationship to have gone over to the personal relationship? You don't
Not at all.
socialize, do any
No.
private
No.
get-togethers?
No.
Okay. You would agree that this video pretty clearly shows, at least at one point, around 1:34 a.m., Brian Higgins was on his phone.
Is that the one that he has the device by his face?
Correct.
It appears that way, yes.
And just to be clear, when you interviewed Mr. Higgins, he did not volunteer to give you his phone, correct?
He did not volunteer it, no.
And you didn't seek his phone through a warrant or any other mechanism?
I did not know.
Do you have any personal knowledge as to the status of that phone as we sit here today?
The one that he got the extractions from?
Correct.
No idea, no.
I want to shift gears to another series of videos. Last year at another proceeding, you were asked about a couple of videos from the interior Sallyport garage at Canton PD. So now we're going to move to the interior. You remember those series of questions and answers that you gave?
Generally,
Okay. You were asked at another proceeding to describe when the SUV, Miss Reed's SUV, first arrived at the Sallyport garage around 5:30 or so, correct?
based on my recollection of it first arriving or what we were viewing?
What you were viewing?
I'm objecting to this.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Do you remember being asked a series of questions concerning the arrival of the SUV, just in general?
But I remember that it happened. I don't remember the exact questions on what my answers were.
And you remember seeing a video about which you were asked questions concerning the arrival of that SUV, pulling into the Sallyport, who was who, what the time frame was generally. Do you remember that colloquy, that discussion?
I remember it taking place, yes.
That was Mr. Lally asking you questions, correct?
I believe so.
Under questioning by the Commonwealth, you were asked whether the video that you were looking at fairly and accurately represented the SUV arriving at the Sallyport garage, correct?
Yes.
And you indicated, in fact, it did fairly and accurately depict the arrival of the SUV at the Sallyport garage. Is that right?
That's correct.
I'd like to ask you a question about that particular video. The other day. Your Honor, I'm holding a flash drive. May I approach?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to just bump it up. May I have a moment to consult with counsel?
Okay. Paul, I want you here. Jers, you know what? Let's take the luncheon break.
Thank you, Your Honor.
If you didn't know, y'all stink. Okay.
Did you ultimately learn?
Do is have the voir dire right now to see what Sergeant Buchanan knew regarding that line of testimony you wanted to get into. So let's do that now, and then you can all work out the video issues.
Yes. Okay. May I inquire briefly?
Yes.
Thank you. Sergeant, we were talking before the jury left, we were talking a little bit about the conversation that you had with Michael Proctor, either during or just before or just after that first interview with Chris and Julie Albert. What I'd like to ask you is, what information did you have and what did you ultimately learn about their relationship? You said there were some accusations and we never really got to the heart of it. What did you know and what did you do to investigate? What did you learn?
What I knew as we were walking up to the door is that he had knowledge of the individuals prior to us conducting the interview. I asked him if he knew them personally. My words, do you hang out with them? Do you socialize with them? He said, no, I do not. I said, are you comfortable doing this interview? And he said, yes. And me being a complete outsider and his supervisor and realizing if there was any impropriety that I would step in and recognize it, report it, and act on that. The interview was conducted without issue and we moved on.
As a matter of fact, one of the things in Trooper Proctor's report, it said the report started with following formal introductions. Did that suggest to you that Trooper Proctor had no knowledge of who Chris or Julie Albert were from a personal standpoint?
Not at all. I believe maybe I wrote the report, or was it him?
Yes, I think it is you.
Yeah. So
May I approach one?
Yes.
Just so you have it.
thank you. Yeah, since I authored the report, I wrote following formal introduction since I've never met them before.
Okay, so that was more attended to you than to Michael Proctor.
Correct.
Okay, but the report does say we introduced ourselves, basically. Following formal introductions.
Greeted, but I had formal introductions to them. I've never met them before in my life.
You said that subsequently you learned about, your word, accusations that had been made concerning possible relationship between Michael Proctor and the Alberts. What was that information that you learned?
When was it? I need that.
When did you learn it? I thought you said 2023, but I could be wrong. When did you learn that?
It was I believe, during the July motion proceedings when you guys had pictures up of children.
July of what year?
I believe 2023.
Okay. And what was it that you learned in July of 2023 about the potential?
The accusations?
Yeah.
That those were Albert's or McCabe's kids in the photograph with Michael Proctor?
Okay. Did you ever learn about personal communications that Michael Proctor or his wife may have had with any of the Albert family, including Julie Albert?
Ever?
Ever?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me when you learned that and what you learned in that order.
Well, Michael Proctor had communicated with those individuals. Oh, excuse me. Elizabeth Proctor communicated with those individuals due to the harassment that they've sustained.
Okay.
So with the crazy behavior that's been, imposed on them, and the torturous harassment that they've endured, the traumatic experiences they've had to live through, they've communicated. So I've learned about that. Yes. I was taking in all of that evidence, hundreds and pieces of evidence that I've archived in order to.
Go ahead. In order to.
investigate it.
Okay. You're talking about Elizabeth Proctor well after the fact of the interview and the incident in 2022. That's what you were just describing.
It was after the harassment
Okay.
started, yes.
Which is well after January 29, 2022, correct?
January 20, yes, it is.
Okay. I'm asking about information related to a relationship prior to January 29, 2022. Did you ever learn about a pre-existing relationship that may have existed between the Proctor family and the Albert family before January 29, 2022, and maybe a couple of days after?
All I know is that there was a relationship explanation provided by Mr. Lally during one of the motions, and it was like 6 degrees separated by individuals residing in the community, living in the community, raising their kids in the community, working in the community, so making them community members and having relationship within that. I don't know the extent of those relationships.
Okay. Did you, during that hearing where you said there were pictures of the kids and et cetera, that July 2023 hearing, did you see a post, a Facebook post during the course of that hearing wherein the Albert family called the Proctor family their second family, or vice versa, where the Proctor family, Michael Proctor's mother, they've called the Alberts their second family? You remember that Facebook post?
I don't remember seeing that post. I just remember there were like a picture of kids that weren't Michael Proctor's kids.
Okay, but you were in court that day.
I was in court in July. I believe it was 23rd of July, for
Okay.
the motion, yeah.
Leaving aside the photographs that you've talked about, did you see the post, the Facebook post about those two families, specifically Michael Proctor's mom, saying that the Alberts were their, quote, second family?
I don't remember seeing that post.
That didn't strike you, or that was not in your brain, in your head?
I don't think I've ever seen a post like that. So I just remember seeing the post of the kids.
What
I believe
about
it was Miss Little that was holding up the poster.
what about the text messages, or what about any text messages between Michael Proctor and his sister concerning Julie Albert, very specifically concerning Julie Albert? Are you aware of those?
No.
Have you ever seen a text message between Julie Albert, between Courtney Proctor and, it's Courtney Proctor and Michael Proctor, where the sister says, Julie wants to give you a gift because you're doing such a great job leading this, meaning this investigation? You've heard that?
No.
Are you aware of a text message in which Michael Proctor responds, get it for my wife? Meaning, if you're going to give us a gift, get the gift for my wife.
No idea.
Okay. Are you aware of a series of text messages between and among Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor in which they talk about, between Michael Proctor and Courtney Proctor, in which they talk about Julie Albert? This is 10 days before the incident, 10 days before January 29th, so mid-January, where they talk about the possibility of Julie Albert babysitting for Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor's kids.
I am not aware of those text
This is
messages.
the first you've heard of any of those.
Of these text messages?
The text messages
Yeah.
that I'm describing, have you ever heard of any of those?
No.
Okay. Did you ever talk to or investigate the circumstance of the possibility, even the remote possibility, that Michael Proctor may have had a relationship with the Alberts that you were unaware of?
No, I never investigated anything like that.
So after your initial conversation with Mr. Proctor, where he said, I know of these people, and you said, is there any issue with you going forward? And he said, no, there's no issue. You took no further steps after that to investigate that relationship And I'm talking about the relationship that existed on or around January 29th, 2022, not in 2023, not in 2024.
Once Michael Proctor stated that he was comfortable conducting the interview, and I asked him if he was sure, and he said yes, we moved on.
Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Last couple of questions. Were you in court? I know you're indicating that you've never heard about these text messages. Were you in court in February of 2024 following the federal investigation revelation, the documents that we got from the both sides got from the federal investigation, which revealed and was revealed in open court the text messages about gift giving between Courtney Proctor and Michael Proctor? Hey, Judy wants to get you a gift, and Michael Proctor's response was, "Get it for Elizabeth, get it for my wife." Were you in court when those were reviewed?
Following the harassment, intimidation that I experienced on the 23rd, being followed into the bathroom, then being followed outside, I stopped coming to court proceedings due to that. So I was not in court in February of 2024 and describing the information that you're revealing. I was not aware of that
Did you
detail.
review that all of these proceedings are televised, Sergeant? You know that, right?
I'm not aware that it was televised, no.
You're not aware?
I know it streams, but I'm not aware that it's televised.
Okay, streamed. However, whatever you want to call it. Streamed on the internet. You can find it.
You can, yes.
They're recorded.
Right.
Did you ever review the hearing in February 2024 talking about what's been referred to as the Fed dump and the revelations that were made pursuant to that federal investigation and the text messages attendant there too?
I am aware of a Fed dump. I'm aware that it exists. I was not privileged to any information outside of the information that was revealed to me during the internal affairs investigation.
Right.
That was the first time I saw documents from that federal investigation.
By the way, were you privy to, Michael, there were three individuals involved in the investigation, yourself, Lieutenant Tully, and Michael Proctor, is that right?
In what
The
investigation?
internal affairs investigation.
I'm aware that I was. I know they were as well. I don't know who else might have been involved. I don't know.
In terms of your awareness of Michael Proctor's investigation, you're aware, obviously, that he was terminated, correct?
I am aware that he's terminated, yes.
Did you ever see or were privy to any of the documents or investigative materials associated with his termination as his supervisor?
No.
So nothing was ever shared with you, the final decision?
Other than the documents that he was attached in the text message that I was shown from that investigation, nobody showed me anything of his investigation.
Okay, so let's wrap this up.
Okay, that was basically all I had.
Okay, all right. Do you want to be heard, Mr. Jackson?
No.
Okay,
I'm not.
yeah, I'm not letting any of this in.
I think it's all admissible, but I understand the court's ruling was if he doesn't have personal knowledge of it and didn't have it then you're not going to let it in. So for our objection, but that's been noted.
Okay, so you got your voir dire, and I'm glad we fleshed it all out. So you have to be back here in 35 minutes. All right, when's the jury coming back, Paul?
With the 20. It should be moved to the next.
Yes.
May I inquire? I'm so sorry. I did it again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, go right ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. Just before the lunch break, Sergeant, I asked whether you had engaged in a discussion with the Commonwealth at a prior proceeding in which you were shown a video and you talked about the fairness and accuracy of that particular video in the Sallyport when the SUV was first pulled in. And you did indicate that it was fair and accurate, correct?
Yes, back then, yes. Yep.
I want to play a copy, a bit of that video, if I could, please, with the court's permission.
Okay, is it in evidence?
It is not. I would ask that we mark as next in order. Thumb drive.
Are we marking this for identification, or is there an agreement it's going into evidence?
I'd like it in evidence.
We agree with the stipulation that it's authentic.
I'm not going to argue metadata issues or authenticity issues, so.
All right, so is there a stipulation that this is authentic? Okay, so folks, again, a stipulation means the parties agree. And with that, I will allow this into evidence as the next exhibit. Madam Court Reporter?
Mr. Jackson, is this it?
That's it.
Exhibit 118?
Okay, now you may display it.
Thank you. Okay. Could we play beginning, what's the runtime, Mr. Wolk?
5:37:03.
This is at 5:37:03. If we just play this forward for a couple of seconds. A little bit further. Pause. Do you see what's depicted in this video?
Yes, I do.
This is the video that you were shown at a prior proceeding, correct?
Yes, it is.
Does this appear to be the interior of the Sallyport at Canton PD?
Yes, it is.
And this is what you were questioned about regarding the SUV being pulled into the Sallyport, correct?
Yes.
From a time frame standpoint, just the time frame, this is right after the SUV has been driven in from the flatbed after having been seized in Dighton, correct?
Yes, it was driven off of the flatbed after transportation from Dighton to Canton PD and driven into the Sallyport.
All right. You previously have identified individuals in this video, in this still shot, correct?
Yes.
And what you previously said, and we'll get to subsequent testimony in a second, you previously indicated that the person to the right was you, person to the left, Michael Proctor, correct?
Yes, previously I identified that being Michael Proctor. I was mistaken. That is not me on the right.
That would be the tow truck driver, correct?
That's correct.
That is, in fact, Michael Proctor, however, in the two-tone jacket, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. And as the video is portrayed, at least as we're looking at it, and I'll get to the next question next, as we're looking at it, it appears that we're looking at the right passenger side of the vehicle, as it appears in this video, correct?
That's correct.
And you see a timestamp and a date stamp on the bottom, correct?
It is present. I don't know what it says.
Okay, can we highlight that just a little bit? Can you see what that says?
I believe it says interior Sallyport back wall,
Okay,
537, maybe.
okay. When you indicated that this was a fair and accurate depiction of the interior Sallyport when the SUV was brought in, you were specifically asked whether or not you or Michael Proctor approached or manipulated or touched the right rear taillight area of the vehicle, correct?
I don't remember the exact verbiage used, but in something along those lines, that's what was asked.
And you indicated that neither of you did, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But in point of fact, this video is backward, correct?
Yes, it is a mirror image of what is actually taking place as recorded by the camera.
Can we play this forward?
Yes.
Do you see where Mr. Proctor, let's go ahead and pause it. Do you see where Mr. Proctor went?
Yes, the video depicts him going to that portion of the vehicle, but we can't tell how close he is.
Okay. And the back, from all appearances, importantly, it appears to be the back driver's side, back left of the vehicle, correct?
That's the way it appears, yes.
Let's play this forward for a second. Pause. Can I ask you to pay special note to the far rear side of the vehicle? Do you see what appears to be Mr. Proctor's head?
Yes.
As the tow truck driver walks past the rear of the vehicle, can you watch and tell me if you see Mr. Proctor do anything or move in any way? Let's go ahead and play it forward. Pause. Did you see any volitional movement by Mr. Proctor as the tow truck driver moved past him?
Yes, it appears if that is his head, it shifted weight.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play it forward. Stop. Did you see a person that appeared to morph toward the back of the vehicle? Right there.
There is some anomaly there with the footage, so it could possibly be used to describe that what took place.
Can you recognize that person?
I cannot know.
You indicated previously, does that person look large or small in stature
I can't tell.
as compared to, for instance, Michael Proctor, whose head you can see above the car? What about this person? Taller, shorter than Michael Proctor?
I can't tell from here. I can't.
You indicated that Chief Berkowitz was a smaller statured person, correct?
Oh my God, people. We are actually in the Matrix.
Never said that.
I'm sorry?
I didn't know his height.
Larger or smaller? Generally. How about this? Larger or smaller than you?
He's shorter than me.
Okay. Can you tell whether or not that is Chief Berkowitz?
I cannot know.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it for him. And a little bit further. Pause. What does it appear that Mr. Proctor does at this point in the video?
He's walking.
Okay. Do you see anything in his hand?
I cannot tell from the video, but he might be carrying something.
Remember we looked previously at a portfolio, black portfolio. Does it appear that he may have a black portfolio in his hand?
That is very likely, but I don't know exactly what he's carrying.
Okay, let's go ahead and play this forward. Okay, and did it appear that somebody just appeared at the front right, the right-hand side of the screen toward the front of the SUV as well?
Yes, it appears that way, yes.
Okay. Let's take this down. I'd like to mark. I have another electronic device, a thumb drive, that has another video on it, Your Honor. I'd like to have that marked as next in order. Court permission.
All right, so there's no objection, Mr. Bryan?
No objection, thank you.
Exhibit 119.
With the court's permission.
Yes.
Now, Sergeant, what does this show?
It appears to be the mirror image of the previous footage. I don't know the exact timestamp there, but
Can we increase the date and time? Do you see, can you read the date and timestamp on this Chiron?
I cannot now.
It's because it's backward, correct?
I can't read it. I can't make it out, sir.
Can you make it any bigger, Mr. Wolk? Does that appear to be backward?
Based on me recognizing some of the digits, it does appear to be backwards.
Okay, let's look at the whole screen again. Sergeant, let's play this forward for just a quick second. Pause. Do you see Michael Proctor in this video?
I believe that's him. Yes.
And which side, and let's start with this. Do you agree that this is the correct version of the camera angle and the SUV as it pulled into the Sallyport?
This is the footage, the way that is depicted right now is very accurately very accurately represents what I remember from being there.
In fact, this side of the vehicle that we're looking at that's closest to us, that I'm highlighting on the screen to your right, that is in fact the driver's side of the vehicle, not the passenger side of the vehicle. Is that correct?
That is correct.
The far side over here would be the right rear of the vehicle, correct?
Yes, sir.
Which area is Michael Proctor walking to? The left rear or the right rear in this footage?
It appears if that's him, he's walking to the right rear of the vehicle.
Can we play this forward? And do you see Mr. Proctor's head above the SUV?
Yes.
And watch him as the tow truck driver walks by. Did he appear to move?
He shifted weight, yes.
And it appears that there's another person that showed up in the footage, an anomaly of some sort, walking off screen left to right. Is that right?
That's what it appears, yes.
Is Mr. Proctor still at the right rear taillight area?
He's in that general vicinity, yes.
Let's go ahead and play it forward. A little bit further. Pause. Can you see anything in his hand? Let me just ask it closed in. Do you see the portfolio in his hand?
It would not be unlikely that it's there, but I can't tell exactly what it is in his hand.
Let's play it forward. Do you see anything in his hand now as his arm?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Does it appear to be consistent with the black portfolio that we saw earlier?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Let's move forward. And he is now off screen, correct?
Yes.
So, in point of fact, Sergeant, when you were asked previously whether the prior video fairly and accurately depicted what you recall as it pertains to the SUV and the Sallyport, that was not quite true, correct? Objection.
I'll allow it.
The way I understood the question is what I'm watching accurately depicts what's taking place. It is. Just because it's a mirror image doesn't mean that it's not recording what the actions and what is transpiring.
Okay, defense attorney's gone too too far for me twice today. This might be worth mentioning, but I will tell you this. Just in my personal experience, when I stream, sometimes somebody sends me a shirt and it's got letters printed on it, like this. And I'll go on and I'll look at it and like, oh, it's backwards, like you can't read it. It looks like it's like mirror image. So then I'll click either mirror image or the opposite, whatever. It just toggles back and forth. My point is, I don't even notice. I'm streaming. I might stream that way for 3 months and not notice until I look at characters. Speaking of characters, I can't believe this. Look what we have here.
Howdy, Mike.
It's Ben Bateman, all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. What are you doing, brother?
I just got home from work, dude.
Have you watched any of this?
No. I've had
We're in the
some
Matrix,
people.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
they've got a mirror image of a video in here, and they're like making a big thing. I think the defense attorney's going too far. How you doing?
I'm all right. Tired.
Are you okay? You're still talking to me after I outed you for being wholesome?
Yes. It's like, come on, man. I got a reputation to maintain. Chicks dig the bad boys, man. You can't do that to me. You can't tell the truth about me.
It's just rude. All right. Let me get this. Let me get this thing back started here. I was just mid rant. I don't know what the hell I was on about.
I will take my tie off. I will be unwholesome here.
All right. Hey now.
Exactly the opposite of what was true and correct, not just a mirror image. What is left is right, and what is right is left, correct?
Stay just to that form.
Would you agree that in point of fact, a mirror image video is not a true and accurate depiction of what's depicted in a scene?
I think it just is a mirror image of what's taking place. If you see someone walking in or driving a vehicle and it's depicting the action of the vehicle being pulled in.
All right, now I got a defense attorney here. Would you try this? I think this defense attorney is generally damn good, but he's pushing too far tonight, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He just asked me. He basically tried to cross-examine him like it was a big dramatic gopher moment, because he showed him a video and it was mirror imaged, and he's like, "Oh, well, you told me it was a true and accurate depiction."
Yeah.
And then here's the cross, and he's like, "Well, see, it's not accurate." And the guy's like, "It's accurate. It's a mirror image." And now you look like a jackass.
Well, did they disclose that in direct examination that it was a mirror image? I mean, did they gain any advantage? I mean, I guess, I don't know that you.
I mean,
if
it's
they didn't
kind
bring it
of
up in
weird
direct,
because
you might.
with the car, it does sort of make a difference because everything isn't symmetric, and like it sort of implies the driver's side is the passenger side. Just trust me on this.
Okay.
So it kind of makes a difference, but it's not like the witness was being dishonest, and the video was the effing video. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you might.
Like if I showed you a video of something that we did, you know, like, oh, hey, we're at the Mirage or whatever when I was out there, and I showed you a 10-second clip, but it was mirrored imaged, you wouldn't know. You'd be like, oh, yeah, that's us.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't be like, wait, is this the mirror image or is this the regular image of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you could maybe score cheap points if they didn't bring it up and say, well, this is a mirrored image.
Yeah.
If that changes anything. I don't know. Or just say, hey, they're being shady.
Right,
but you wouldn't harp on. So is he harping on it?
Like, you can bring it up or like trying to poke holes at him real quick, but I wouldn't make a federal production out of it. You start losing credibility.
I would not, no. Because jurors are like, okay, we get it. It's a mirrored image.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you can spend on it.
And if it's mirrored, it's pulling in from left to right or right to left. It's still documenting the activity that's taking place.
Or if someone walks to the left rear of the vehicle versus the right rear of the vehicle, those two things will be switched, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And you'll agree that the prior video that we showed, that you and I just talked about, the inverted video, appeared for all intents and purposes to show Michael Proctor stay away from the left, from the right rear taillight, walk all the way around and position himself to the left rear taillight. You'd agree with that, correct?
Objection.
Do you agree with that? Allow it.
It appeared that is what was happening, but he was standing next to the taillight that was already damaged.
But in the corrected video, which is this one, it actually shows unequivocally that Michael Proctor walked directly to the right rear taillight portion of this SUV.
The doctored video.
I'm sorry, can you repeat
The
that?
adulterated
In the
video.
corrected video,
Yeah.
this video
Who's got a
here,
thesaurus that could help me
this
out there?
unequivocally shows that Michael Proctor walked toward the right rear area of that SUV, where the right taillight is, correct?
Yes.
And you'll also agree that this video was taken before any taillight material was ever found at 34 Fairview, correct?
Can you zoom in on the time?
Not on this one, this is backwards.
I know that the SUV pulled into the garage, the Sallyport, at 5:35, and we were still on scene at 5:51, almost 52. So, yes, if that's timestamp before 5:51, before we left Canton PD, then yes, taillight pieces had already been found.
So 5:35, 5:37 is before the first taillight pieces were found. Right.
I'd have to see a timestamp of when they were exactly found, but if
Well, let me
that,
ask you a different way. 5:37, 5:35 is before 5:45.
yes.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Oh, good Lord. Talking to his client? What the? No, he's talking to the other guy. Did you follow any of the Diddy stuff today?
Sergeant,
I haven't
Canton PD
updated
is
on the Diddy stuff.
I haven't
yet.
either.
about a mile and a half.
I heard
from
someone got
34
video
Fairview,
of it
is that right?
somehow. I don't know if that's true.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is totally not allowed.
Approximately. I don't know the exact distance. I never measured it, but I would not be shocked if you were accurate in that.
Maybe a 3 or 4 minute drive.
Depending on the traffic conditions and the weather conditions, that could be a possibility, depending on the speed you travel.
I'm sorry. Your Honor, I have a photograph that I'd
Thanks,
like to have marked with the court's permission. If I may approach.
Mark
You know, that's why I wanted
identification.
in on that.
Marked for identification for the time.
Yeah, I
being.
would not be brave enough to try and bootleg the Diddy trial.
Yeah, that's a bold move.
Yeah, that is pretty bold.
Federal court doesn't mess around.
May I
I
approach?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I don't even want to air a copy of the bootleg to the video.
Thank you. Let me take a look.
Thank you. Let me ask you a couple of other questions. We just looked at the videos of the interior of the Sallyport. Harkening back to what we just looked at, the corrected video, there would also be a camera on the other side of that Sallyport garage pointing down
Oh, man, I'm
toward
just
the
making
right
lots of
rear
money, aren't
taillight
I?
area of the SUV, correct?
Yes.
There's a camera situated on the opposite side. We'd be looking at that camera, correct?
Yes.
Okay, taking a look at that photograph. I know the quality of it, but can you tell if that appears to be a still image from that camera?
Yes, it appears to be a still image from that video camera.
I'd ask that this be moved into evidence, Your Honor.
Is there an objection?
No objection. Thank you.
Thank you. If we could display this for the jurors, Your Honor,
Stop it.
just the photograph.
This
Okay.
Diddy bought all the
Do you see what's depicted? I know the photograph that you're holding is very poor quality. It's a little easier with this lighting. Do you recognize what's depicted in this photograph?
I'm sorry, your laser was bouncing off on the ceiling. I
I was trying to
apologize.
make it easier for you.
Yeah.
This photograph here.
That appears to be the seized SUV belonging to the defendant with it being situated inside the Sallyport.
And what is that vehicle there?
It's an antique police cruiser.
And who is this person?
I do not know who that is.
Does that look like Michael Proctor?
Don't know. I'd have to get
Back
a
of his
zoom
head.
in. I don't know.
It looks like a bald dude.
It's like Mr. Clean.
Would that be, does he have glasses on?
I
How
don't
can you tell
know.
from that image?
Could be Chief Burgos.
I guarantee it's not
It
the
could
only
be
bald
Chief
copy.
Berkowitz. I don't know.
Coochie. Gotcha.
Can you tell me the date that's on the time, the date and timestamp at the bottom?
I cannot. I think I might be able to make it out in the actual photograph you printed out. Could I
Okay.
take a look at that?
Sure.
Need the light?
Yes, please, Your Honor. It appears the time is 11:08 and 59 seconds in the morning of possibly January 30th of 2022.
Okay. Let's go ahead and pull this back out full frame.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, do you have a point of reference? Does that appear to be the interior camera facing the other direction where the SUV was depicted in the Sallyport earlier?
It's the opposite of what we had viewed earlier, diagonally across, I believe.
So this would be the right rear of the vehicle, correct?
That is correct.
Now I'd like to ask you to take a look at a video. Now that we have that point of reference, do I have a final video? Okay. I can have that marked as next in order, Your Honor.
As next in order, so there's no objection, Mr. Brennan?
I have no objection to that being entered now.
Exhibit 121.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, could we present this? Go ahead and play it. Pause. Can you make out, now that that's paused, can you make out what's depicted toward the top of the screen?
Yes, it appears to be a distorted image of that antique police cruiser.
Okay. And does the area next to the police cruiser appear to be empty? Some snow on the ground?
Yes, it does. Actually, yes, it does look that way. Yes.
Okay. So there's nothing next to the police cruiser, at least at this point, correct?
That's what it appears to be. Yes.
Can we take a look at the timestamp on this document or on this frame? I'd ask you to let the jurors know if you can see what the actual run time is on this.
I could see the timestamp. I don't know the runtime, what it's going to be.
It's 5:07, 10 or 12, something like that.
That's the
5:07.
timestamp. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. PM.
Now, if we could just play this forward, go back to full screen. Pause. Now, how many seconds would you estimate, just in your head, just went by in real time?
Approximately 5 seconds.
Okay. Do you see something in the video now?
Yes.
What is that?
It appears to be the seized Lexus SUV.
And now let's look at the timestamp.
Am I blind? I don't see anything.
What time is that?
I see nothing.
5:47 p.m.
So in about, according to your testimony, in about 5 seconds, the time jumped from before the SUV was in the Sallyport to about 5:50 p.m. after the SUV had already arrived and is now situated in the Sallyport, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
The time frame that we just saw earlier of about 5:35, 5:36 or so with you and, with the tow truck driver and Michael Proctor in the video. That is not in this video. It's not captured in this video, was it?
It did not present itself, no.
That's all I have now.
Mr. Brennan?
There's a
Good afternoon,
prosecutor
sir.
for you.
Good afternoon.
You had just asked
All those
questions
legal
about
pads.
some of the video footage
Looking the
from the
part.
Canton Police Department Sallyport area. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask you further questions about that.
He's got fruit of the loom briefs.
In your investigation, did you obtain camera footage from a number of different
Speaking
angles
of which,
from the Canton Police Department Sallyport
gotta
area?
go soon to cheer on the Golden
I did.
Knights.
And one of those
All right, brother. Thanks
series
for
of
coming by.
footages,
You
did that
bet, man.
include the interior
You're the best.
Sallyport back wall
There we go.
from January 29,
All right, we'll see you later.
2022?
Peace out.
Good luck.
Yes, it is.
Is that the video that
Bye,
appears
everybody.
inverted? And then we saw the second where it was present as you would see it?
Yes, sir.
Did you look at that video? Did you invert the video in any way?
No, I did not.
Did you investigate and learn whether or not there was any other video in addition to that interior Sallyport back wall where video was set up by the town of Canton that appears inverted rather than forward?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Yes, the investigation revealed that multiple cameras had a lens applied to it that was inverted.
In addition to the Canton Police Department Sallyport interior back wall, where else did you learn around town there was video that appears inverted?
I believe it is inside the Canton PD, the hallways, possibly. And if I am not mistaken, the other locations within the town of Canton. And the,
Objection, Your Honor.
Ask the question. No, is that your answer? Is that your final answer?
I wasn't finished, but yes.
May we proceed?
Okay. Jurors, I'm going to strike the portion of the answer that follows hallways of the Canton PD.
And sir, when you obtained the video from the interior Sallyport back wall, which was inverted, did you provide a copy of it?
Yes, I did.
When you looked at that video, does it have time and date stamps on it?
Yes, it does.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'd like to introduce a copy of that.
Sure.
Exhibit 122.
When you provided the video for January 29, 2022 for that inverted video, did you do any further investigation to see if it was an anomaly that happened just on that date, or whether that was historically the way the video appeared?
I'll look into that matter, produced the fact that it's been recording that way previously to January 29th.
Why did you want to historically go back and see if it was historically the same way?
To show that it had not been manipulated or altered in any way, and it was accurately recording what was taking place on January 29th, 2022.
As part of the investigation, was there video taken from January 1st, 2022?
Yes.
And is that before January 29th, 2022?
Yes, it is.
I'd like to approach and move to introduce this.
Okay.
Exhibit 123.
Do you know how many cameras are inside the Sallyport?
I don't know exactly. I know that there's at the very least 2 inside the Sallyport.
You were shown a still photograph, not from the inverted video, but from a different video or a different camera.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember that photograph?
I do.
And you were asked about gaps in time.
Mhm.
Do you know what the health was of that camera around that time?
I do not know.
Did you obtain and look at video from that camera?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'd like to introduce. I had you look at this before. Introduce it. Do you recognize what that is?
The
Yes, I do.
Sallyport stash could fix all of it.
It's a Sallyport videos, the original disc or thumb drive. I apologize, not disc.
Introduce this as an exhibit, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay.
Exhibit 124.
When you saw that dark photograph, you later saw a picture that was clearer, and you were asked questions about that. Do you know whether or not the video from that Sallyport area was clarified?
It was.
What does clarified mean?
It means it was enhanced to look clearer.
And that image you saw, was that a clarified photograph taken from the video that was not clarified?
It appears that way, yes.
Do you know who clarified the video?
I do not know.
May I approach?
Yes.
It's the Sallyport video that you showed. This one. This down. Getting you a zip drive, you know what is on that?
Yes,
What is it?
it's Sallyport clarified video from the front wall.
Thank you. I moved into this as an exhibit.
No objection, Mr. Jackson?
Sorry, Your Honor, no objection.
Exhibit 125.
With the court's permission, could I play a portion of the clarified video for the jury?
Yes.
With Ms. Gilman's assistance, could you take us to the clarified video of the Sallyport, and could you take us to about 5:35? As Ms. Gilman searches, I have other questions I can proceed with.
Okay, we'll turn the light on again, please. Go ahead, thank you.
Did you obtain video of outside the Sallyport to show what time the tow truck arrived with the defendant's Lexus?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
Hey, you and I, do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
It's a disc containing CPD exterior Sallyport video.
Move to introduce this, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 126.
Similarly, did you obtain video from the front driveway of the Canton Police Department depicting the arrival of the defendant's Lexus?
Yes.
May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Hand you another item. Do you recognize this, sir?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's Canton PD driveway video.
And is this a copy of the video you obtained?
Yes, it is.
I'll move this into evidence.
No objection.
Thank you. Exhibit 127.
Do you recall when you arrived with the defendant's Lexus on January 29, 2022, what time you reached the Sallyport?
To the best of my recollection, it was 5:35 p.m. is when the vehicle was placed into the Sallyport.
When you left Dighton after the tow truck lifted the defendant's Lexus and put it on the tow truck, did you follow the tow truck back to Canton?
Yes, I did.
Did the tow truck stop at any point between Dighton and Canton Police Department?
Other than red traffic lights, no.
When you were following, how were you following the tow truck?
I was keeping a safe distance, always keeping line of sight behind the vehicle. I was following it from Dighton residence all the way to Canton PD.
Was Michael Proctor with you in your truck?
Yes, he was.
Did you take any detours on your trip back to the Canton Police Department?
No, we followed the truck driver. He led the way.
At any point, did you take any turns to Fairview Road?
No.
Did you know whether or not there was a CERT team at Fairview Road searching while you were driving back to the Canton Police Department?
I knew one was dispatched, yes.
Did you go to Fairview Road to speak to any of the CERT team members?
No.
Did you watch the CERT team members conduct their search?
No, I did not.
In any way, did you, at any point during that search, see it happening?
No, I did not, no.
When the CERT team members were there, do you remember that they arrived at 4:54 and 4:56?
I don't have a specific memory, but I know that they arrived sometime between that hour.
When you arrived at the Sallyport, at the Canton Police Department with the defendant's Lexus, what was your understanding of where the CERT team was?
My understanding was they were at 34 Fairview.
When you first arrived around 5:37 at the Canton Police Department, were any members of the CERT team at the Canton Police Department?
Objection.
I'll allow it. Lay a foundation.
Now, I asked you, do you remember about what time you got back to the Canton Police Department? Do you know specifically what time you got back?
I know we pulled in to the driveway at 5:30 p.m.
And did you see some of the timestamps that you were shown on cross-examination?
Yes,
Did you see the timestamp 5:37:18 when it was shown to you by the defense?
yes.
At that time, when you were arriving and bringing the defendant's Lexus into the Sallyport, was there any CERT team members at the Canton Police Department?
No,
Were there any troopers who were speaking to you or receiving items or evidence from you or Trooper Proctor?
Absolutely not.
Was there any items exchanged between you and or Trooper Proctor and anybody else for that matter that you saw
No.
while you were at the Canton Police Department in the Sallyport area? Do you remember how long you stayed in that area?
Approximately 15, 20 minutes.
And so you were asked when the first items were found at Fairview Road. Do you remember that it was around 5:45?
Yes.
So at the time those items were first found at Fairview Road, where were you and Michael Proctor?
At Canton Police Department.
When you were at the Canton Police Department and you had brought the Lexus back, did you ever see Michael Proctor leave the Canton Police Department without you?
No.
You ever see him hop in a car and take a drive,
No.
a 3-minute drive or a 4-minute drive?
No.
Did you ever see him leave for a 6-minute, 7-minute trip?
Objection, Your Honor.
You've made your point. Next question.
When you were at the Canton Police Department, were you separate or with Michael Proctor?
We were together. Not obviously tied at the hip, but we were within eyesight traveling together.
After you left the Sallyport area, did you and Michael Proctor immediately leave the Canton Police Department?
No, we stuck around.
Why did you stick around at the Canton Police Department?
To make sure that evidence was properly being protected with yellow tape around it. And we were making plans to go get dinner.
When you were making plans, did you go anywhere else in the police department after you left the Sallyport area?
Yes, I believe we went to the conference room.
Was there anybody else that you saw in the police department when you went to the conference room with Mr. Proctor?
I remember talking to Chief Berkowitz in the police department. We were in the dispatch area at one point in time as well. So there was multiple people that observed us there.
At any point, did you give any items to Chief Berkowitz?
No.
At any point, did you ever see Michael Proctor hand or give an item to Chief Berkowitz?
Absolutely not.
You said Michael Proctor had a folder with him.
Yes.
Is that typical in an investigation?
Yes.
Did you ever see him place taillight or any item in that folder?
No, that would be absurd.
Did you ever see him retrieve an item or taillight pieces and give it or sneak it over to Chief Berkowitz?
Objection, Your Honor.
Ask it differently.
Did you ever see Michael Proctor ever hand any piece of taillight to Chief Berkowitz or any other officer for that matter?
No.
The entire time you were there, did either you or Michael Proctor, from what you saw, provide any items, physical items, to anybody else that was there?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll allow that.
No, we did not.
Okay.
Ever provide any physical item to anybody at the Canton Police Department?
No, other than dropping off the vehicle itself, we did not exchange anything.
Oh, don't say we, I'm just asking for you. Now I'm going to ask you, at any point when you got to the Canton Police Department until you left to go to eat with Michael Proctor, did you ever see him hand any physical item to any other person whatsoever?
No, I did not.
And after, do you know about what time you and Michael Proctor left the Canton Police Department?
I would have to estimate it to be around 6, maybe well after 6.
And at the point you left, do you know how many of the items had been found by the CERT team at 34 Fairview Road at the time you left the Canton Police Department?
Objection.
When you left with Michael Proctor, where did you go?
I went to Norwood, Massachusetts.
Is that where you ate?
Yes.
When you left and then arrived in Norwood, did you stop along the way at any other place, including but not limited to 34 Fairview Road?
I did not.
Did you eat?
Yes.
After you ate, where did you go?
Back to Canton Police Department.
Why?
We were having a debrief for that day on the investigation.
Okay.
So that everybody could get on a good understanding.
Okay. I have it on good authority, namely Iris, that nothing else much exciting happens here. I messaged her, it took a minute. Like the other stuff was fun. The whole Matrix photo conspiracy and all this other stuff. Yeah, I'm getting slap happy. Back when I was a boy, if I tried to throw a wee past my dad, he'd say, "What do you have, a turd in your pocket?" I don't know why. This is the sort of crap that was acceptable to say when I was a kid. I should have him on. He'd back me. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I said that." I'm also singing the making bacon pancakes song. Making pancakes, making bacon pancakes, making bacon, and I put it in a pancake. That right there is from Adventure Time. Adventure Time. If you were raising flamingos in the era that I was the most tolerable cartoon that they would watch because it was funny as hell. So you'd watch Adventure Time and they'd throw something in there and just make you laugh. I mean, it's good stuff. There are a few others, but that's the one that sticks out in my mind. Adventure Time is semi-tolerable. There was good music and good jokes in there. Not all the time. A lot of it was garbage, but enough. There were like clever people behind it who got bored and put actual funny stuff in there. That's all that was going on. All right. That's all. We're not gonna go to the bitter end because there's another couple hours, which I would do, but I see where we're going. There's nothing exciting going on. Iris confirmed it for me, so there we go. We're basically up to the minute. We're basically up to the minute. Only 13 days behind the curve. Here at Law Talk with Mike. With special guest Ben freaking Bateman, all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. It was pretty cool. All right. Thank y'all for coming out. That was fun. I will see you soon.